Well, all right, everyone, get ready because in this video, I am going to give you two different property options and I'm going to answer a boatload of questions just to give you a quick snapshot of what we're going to be running through here. This is one of the properties, this is the other property, and then this is the first set of questions we're going to be answering for a particular client. And then this are the is the rest of their questions. So obviously, we're going to dive down deep into the weeds. Now, interestingly, one of these clients, the clients that are asking all of the questions, they want to purchase a property at or near Secret Beach, but they've never been to the island before. So obviously, they have a lot more questions maybe than someone who has been there and has been researching and hanging out at Secret Beach. The other client, I just got off the Zoom call with Mark. Congratulations. We're going to find you something, buddy. Mark was on Ambergris Caye 3 times just last year alone. So, two completely different scenarios, but both are looking at property in and around the Secret Beach area, but they just need a little bit of help understanding some of the nuances. So, first of all, if you're already familiar with Ambergris Caye, maybe you've already purchased property, maybe you're looking for your second or third investment, let me just highlight briefly these two parcels, number 7429 and number 7848. They are a little bit different. They're definitely different in price, but they're also in different areas. Let me go through 7848 first. Okay, so this lot is a second row lot right off the main southern road. So there's two ways, guys, to get to Secret Beach. As you come across from the east side of the island, you come across and you either take this northern road down over to Secret Beach, or you continue to go down straight here and you take this southern road straight over to Secret Beach. So this is just one lot off the main southern road. It's 65 by 100. All right, so it's a nice size lot. The price on it is $45,000, and you can finance it with $5,000 down. So if you do, your balance will be at 10% for 20 years. Your monthly payments are $386.01. If you want to put down a little bit more money, you can get this same lot by putting down $10,000, balance at 10% for 30 years, and your payment drops to $307. We just give people the option because sometimes having a little bit lower monthly payment, at least in the first few years, helps them out until their other investments come due or till they start making a little bit more money. But here we give them the option. All right. This lot is 1.02 miles from Secret Beach. And well, I'll go through some of the other details about the lot and area as I answer those questions. But anyway, take a screenshot of this parcel 7848, 65 by 100. The lot is big enough for a single family home and two casitas. All right, single family home and two casitas can fit on this one property. The other property we have is parcel number 7429. The lot is about a third of a mile or more than that. Yeah, almost over a quarter of a mile closer to Secret Beach, a little bit smaller. This one is 0.71 miles from Secret Beach, just off the northern road. So here's the northern road here that comes across. It goes through parts of Grand Belize Estates, Palmyra Woods, Colonial San Diego, and it's just right here, just about 4 lots off the main road here. And that is a 60 by 80 foot lot. Price is $35,000. And you can finance this with $7,000 down, balance at 10% for 10 years, and your monthly payment is $370.02. All right, so take a screenshot of this. So if that's all you need to see in this video, you can stop watching now. And if you want to buy one or both of these, go ahead and email me. Be happy to write them up for you. But the reason I'm highlighting these two in this video is because I think they would really work well for Manuel and or Mark. So if you guys are watching, I know you are, this video is for you. One of these I think would work really good for your needs. Now, let's get into the boatload of questions. And I think these are great questions, guys. So I'm going to take my time. I'm going to answer some of them quickly and briefly and make references to other videos that I produced or other places they can go to find out more information if they're looking for it. However, I want to kind of dive deep into some of these questions because I think you really need to know what's going on in this area in order to make the best decision for you guys. All right, so first question they had is, why has the property or properties dropped in price? All right, so what would make a certain area of the island or a certain property go down in value? And we say down in value, down in price, because I really believe that as a whole, the island is holding its own when it comes to property values. We haven't seen any decrease at all in values. But what we have seen is some individual property owners will choose to drop their price a bit if they want to move that property off their books. Let's say they're an investor and they were originally asking 40,000 for a property. Now they might be asking 35 just so they can get that property under contract, and someone's making payments on that. Or it could be what we've seen come up this month is that a certain property owner has bills to pay. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they are now getting ready to send the kids to college. One of my clients is building a home in Colorado, so he wanted some funds to finish the home. So an individual seller here or there may decide to list his property at what I consider it would be lower than true market value. And that's the case with these two properties, 7429, 7848. The owners of these are investors. They own several properties in the island, and they simply reduce the price in order to move it from one part of their books, the holdings part, into a mortgage system. So that's the answer on that. The second question is, what are the issues in this particular area? Economic development, tourism. Let me move my screen here. For example, crime, economic development, tourism, etc. I've talked about this a lot when it applies, as it applies to Belize and Ambergris Caye, but because Ambergris Caye is a developing island and there isn't a lot of extra money from tax revenue to pump back into the island in terms of infrastructure like new roads, putting utilities in a certain area, things like that, the island tends to develop very organically. And a lot of times, new developments are put in or are spearheaded by developers that are very well backed with some capital. So, for example, a developer will come into an area. Oftentimes, he'll put in some roads or he'll build some infrastructure to make that area desirable. And that's what we're seeing happen in this entire area. So, you hear a lot about Secret Beach, Grand Belize Estates, West Caye, the Habitat, all these different areas of this part of the island. You have Palmyra Woods, you have Grand Mayan Estates. All of these are subdivisions where someone has come in and started to put some roads in, some infrastructure, but the entire area is off grid. All right. So when you go to build, you're going to be building with solar panels with a backup generator for power. You're going to be using septic systems for wastewater, rainwater catchment systems, or wells for your fresh water. It's going to be completely off grid. And even if electricity would come over, which I really think it's going to do at some point, even if we get power and electric lines to go from the east side of the island where it currently is over to Secret Beach, I think it's going to be quite some time before you see that grid actually start to spread out and fill out and become available to many property owners. The area, the physical area that these subdivisions occupy on Ambergris Caye are very, very large. For example, in Grand Belize Estates, I think there's 1,000 lots right there, just in that one subdivision, not to mention all these others. So for now, I would plan on building off-grid for the foreseeable future. And if utilities were to come in the area, then you can decide whether you want to hook up or not. Question number 3, who owns the surrounding properties? Individuals, corporations? All right, so 95% of the time, your neighbor is going to be an individual. All right, so almost all these properties have sold to individuals. Very, very few are owned by developers or corporations, unless it's a new subdivision coming online. Then the developer would own those properties, but he would then again take them and in turn sell them to individuals. So almost every property you see in this area is owned by an individual. Some of the individuals have purchased multiple properties. We've had clients come in and purchase a block of 5 lots or 10, even 20. They want to do their own like little mini development in these areas. But most of the time, your neighbor is just going to be, a random owner from the United States, Canada, Europe, looking to build a little getaway home, a little vacation home at some point on the island. Where's the nearest medical facility, pharmacy, or hospital? So that would be at the large Grand Caraïbe complex. There is a very good clinic there. It is a satellite office of Belize Medical Associates. Also, in addition to that, there are several good doctors and pharmacies on the island spread out along the north and south areas, especially in San Pedro town. And they will be breaking ground on a new hospital on Ambergris Caye. They've secured the funding from that. I've done videos on that already. You'll be able to find those on my YouTube channel. And so healthcare will just continue to get better and better on Ambergris Caye. Next question. Have nearby properties had wells dug? If so, did they do any testing? What were the results? Yeah, most of the time, people in this area rely on rainwater cisterns. They simply catch the rain as it comes off the roof, put it into a holding tank, and then before they use it, it'll go through a filtration system. Sometimes if we go through a very, very long dry spell, people have water trucked in. Or what they can do, and what people all over the island have done, is they just have a very shallow well dug. Because the water table is so low on the island, the water that comes up oftentimes is brackish. I don't think I spelled it correctly. Brackish water, which means it's half fresh water, half seawater. So normally you have to take that and run it through an in-home reverse osmosis system. They do make these. They're easily available now in Belize, and you can get pretty much unlimited water for your personal use by doing that. Next question. Companies for septic tanks. How does all that stuff work? Easy. When you go to build in your property, your builder will need to size the septic system for how many rooms your home has, basically for how many people will be using the home. And then that septic plan will be approved of by the San Pedro Town Council. But your builder would do all that. That's not a separate entity. So when your builder comes in, oftentimes he'll level the property, bring in some fill if it's needed, dig the septic system, put in the water catchment, all that stuff as part of the build process. And so I don't have a separate cost for that because that's normally included in the price of the home. Who offers the permits? Okay, for those types of things, it's the San Pedro Town Council. So they need to approve your septic plans, your electric plans, your architectural plans. So before you start to build, your builder will have all that approved. When you go on the ground, you shouldn't have any problems. Is the annual rainfall enough? Yes. And I say that yes because it has been. But we don't get a ton of rain on the island. So it's not like down south. You go down south to the areas around Punta Gorda, somewhere's down in there, they get a lot of rain. The island, I think the last time I checked, it's on average 55 inches of rain. So if you have a decent sized roof, you can normally collect enough water. And I haven't seen climate change affect that water use or that water collection, not that I'm aware of. If someone has had that issue and they're watching this video and you own a home on Ambergris Caye, please put that in the comments. I'd be interested to seeing what your thoughts are. But as far as I know, all of the people that own off-grid homes that rely on alternate water sources aren't having any problems. How high is the property above current sea level? Several feet above current sea level. And in the over 20 years that I've been going to Ambergris Caye and living there, I personally have not seen ever any evidence of sea rise. And with that, people got to remember one thing: when scientists talk about global warming affecting sea levels, it affects different parts of the world in different ways. So I'm not saying that no sea rise is taking place anywhere in the world. I'm saying in Belize, we haven't seen any evidence of this. In fact, the property pegs that are on the ground on my beachfront lots, some of these lots were surveyed 10, 15, 20 years ago, and I have pictures, and they're the exact same distance from the water line as they were back then. So I haven't seen any issues with that. What is the zoning like for this lot and the lots in the immediate area? All right, so again, most subdivisions on Ambergris Caye are open zoning. So you can have commercial, you can have residential, you can have a combination of the two. Normally, Belize likes to see an integrated community. So neighborhoods where you have homes, you have some rentals, you have some grocery stores in there, you have some little restaurants, cafes in there. So that's how these neighborhoods generally develop. Go to the second page of questions. All right. Let me see. Why isn't this moving here? There we go. How is the deed issued upon a deal being reached? Okay, so first of all, if you are financing a property, all of the title paperwork and all of the initial closing docs are handled, and the original the original title doesn't transfer to the new buyer until the property is paid for in full. Once the property is paid for in full, then the closing company would do sort of like a secondary closing where the title will actually go into the new buyer's name or their company, or they're taking ownership of the company. Once that title comes back, we suggest that you have that title FedExed. We always use FedEx for important documents. In the meantime, your title or your interest in the property is secure. So, for example, if you're buying one of those properties with financing, what we do is we have the original title held in escrow. All right, so the seller can't go ahead and sell that property on you again and sort of cheat you out of that property. And in addition, if you want, not very many of our buyers do this, but if you want, you can lodge a caution against the title at the lands department. So, but that's something you can talk about with your closing company. Who issues the deed? That is the government of Belize, the lands department, government of Belize in Belmopan. What commercial development, let me read this next question. What commercial developments are anticipated in the immediate area and short distances away? The answer to this question is almost all of these properties are individually owned. And when their owners plan to build is completely 100% in their ball court. So they can choose to build now, they can choose to build in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So these neighborhoods will grow just as people retire or as they get the money to build, or whenever it fits in with their lifestyle, whenever they want to build, whenever they want to have a rental or a place to use, or they retire, that's when they'll build. Now, with building comes a community, and with communities then comes people that look for opportunities to serve the community. So, for example, at Secret Beach, we're seeing a lot of new restaurants come up. We're seeing other infrastructure being put in because people want to serve now the people that are living and coming to the area. So that's why you're going to see more and more Airbnbs, grocery stores, cafes, rental companies, all sorts of things like that. But further away, I would say the largest hotels and resorts are going to be on the east side. So just before you hit the turnoff to Secret Beach, and that's where you have a lot of infrastructure put in already. So you have big developments like Cocoa Beach, Belizean Shores. You have Mata Chica. You have Grand Caribe, Las Terrazas. Excuse me a minute. You have all those larger developments along the East Coast. The one development that I think is going to be a cornerstone of the Secret Beach area is that Sixth Senses property, which is going to compose of a larger portion of the Secret Beach area, especially the beachfront, and the island off there in the West Coast. So other than that, I don't see a lot of big commercial deals coming in. The reason is there isn't a whole lot of large parcels for sale. And the large parcels that may come up on the market are probably going to be more waterfront, maybe south of Secret Beach or north of Secret Beach. And there's where I see the possibility of some larger hotels coming in. All right. Where am I at? What video clips can make available? So on any property that you guys see, all right, it doesn't have to be in the Secret Beach area. You see a property online, you want video, either myself or Israel, we can go take some ground video, we can take some drone video, and if you want, we can even live stream the property so we can show you around, before you come down, or if you don't have any immediate plans to come down, you want to see the property, we can do that, no problem. Can you confirm what currency this particular payment was in that I quoted them? all real estate on the island is quoted in US dollars. So whether it be the sale price or I'm talking to you about monthly payments, that's all in US dollars. How is the interest calculated? It's just a standard reducing balance loan, a standard mortgage. So for example, if you have an Excel spreadsheet on your computer, go to Excel, type in your balance, how many months you want the loan to be, the interest rate, and then you'll be able to see exactly how much money per month goes to the payment, how much goes to the interest. And you can see that if you make a few larger payments whenever you can, it quickly reduces the length of the loan and the overall cost of the loan, depending on how long you keep it. And that is at a fixed rate. All right. So usually 95% of the time, all of our documents are written up as fixed rate loans. The standard rate on all seller financing properties through individuals on Ambergris Caye is 10%. Is the price negotiable? If so, on what basis? All right, so this kind of goes back to one of your original questions as to why a person might drop the overall asking price on their property. If a person needs all of their money up front to go off and do a certain project with, then their price might be a little negotiable because you're showing up with cash, all right? And for them, the cash might be really important. Whereas if they just need a little money, as an example, if we go back to this one here, let me just kind of, we go back to this one, all right. So this one, it's an investor that owns it. They don't really need the cash. So they're not really too interested in coming down off that $45,000 price, but they will negotiate a little bit as far as the length of the loan, depending on the down payment, right? So you got to kind of look at who's selling, why are they selling, and if you have something in mind, just go ahead and make the offer. For example, if they're asking 20% down and you want a little bit of money off the selling price, if you put 30 or 50% down, just go ahead and offer it. The worst they can do is come back and counter or just say, you know what, it's not going to work for me. Then you just kind of go from there. So with anything listed, I wouldn't say everything's negotiable because a lot of our properties do go for asking price. But if you see something you really want and you're just not able to reach it for some reason, let me know. And maybe we can cut a deal either with the seller or maybe I can do something with the commission portion of it, maybe financing a portion of that. I've done that before. So whatever it is, let me know and we'll see if we can put a deal together. So what law firm will you be using for the closing? That's 100% up to you. In Belize, the buyer decides what closing company they want to use. I've used any number of lawyers in Belize City. I found them to be very, very helpful. But 95% of all of my closings I run through Belize Caye Investments. The reason is they have a team, and that's basically all they do is title work. So they help people get their land certificates. They do closings, everything from a smaller property such as these up to multi-million-dollar islands and condos and homes. And Alberto and his team there, I've been working with these guys for 15 years. They've been in business, I think, 19 years. They have a permanent office right across from Tropicare on Ambergris Caye in the Sankas building. I've done full walkthrough videos with Alberto and his team, and I can't speak highly of them enough. They're good people, and I've never had any problems. And if a problem does happen, for example, on a property deal or with a title, they're the first ones to come to me and say, hey, look, this issue has just come up. Here's how we think you should deal with it, or here's what we can do, or you know what, this deal needs to be canceled and the money refunded because it's just not going to be something we're comfortable in dealing with. So I would use Alberto at Belize Caye Investments. Next question, can we get deed or title insurance? This is a question that's come up over the past 10 to 15 years. I have yet, in 15 years of doing this, have had anyone get deed or title insurance because in Belize, it's redundant. And what I mean by that is if you have a land certificate title in Belize, the government of Belize backs up or guarantees your ownership. All right. So they are the ones, it's the most highly protective form of title that I think you can get. And I've studied other countries, different parts of the world. Belize has done an excellent job in protecting property ownership rights, especially if you have a land certificate. Can you please provide a breakdown of the closing costs? So just to give you a rough estimate without going into every single line item, um, if a property costs $100,000, add 10% to that price, that's your out the door price as far as your closing cost. You have 8% stamp tax and a 2% closing cost fee. That's just, rough numbers. So if you're purchasing a $45,000 lot, add 10%, 44,500 is your stamp tax and closing costs. What are the penalties for missing payments? There's a 5% late fee imposed, or that could be imposed. Personally, very rarely will the seller impose this, unless the buyer is a real problem client and they're just missing and there's no good reason for them, missing payments or having late payments. Then after giving them, some fair warning, we might charge the 5% late fee, but it is extremely, extremely rare. What kind of insurance is required for the property? So none. Again, on a piece of vacant land, I don't know of anyone that has gotten property insurance on the property. If you go to build a home, well, then you want the home insured, and that you can get the home insured through any number of companies on the island or on the mainland. So RF&G is a good one. Granules is another good one. But that's only after you have your house or condo or apartment building built, then you get that insurance. And I don't believe a Canadian insurance provider would insure something outside of Canada. Don't know why they would, if they would, but that's something you can always investigate there. But I'm not aware of any that would. Please give a detailed explanation of the currency exchange process. So that would be something you need to get with your bank on. You talk with them, ask them what is the best way to send money. Usually, when you wire money from your Canadian bank, for example, into an escrow account, for example, Alberto's escrow account is at a credit union in the United States. The bank would have an automatic conversion rate, whatever they charge. It could be a conversion rate plus a $20 fee, but your bank would decide that. Other ways to send money to Revolut, Wise, credit card payments, but that's all something you would need to work out on the individual property and with your closing company and ultimately with the seller. If you want to sell the property before it's paid off, that's not a problem at all. You can do that. As the legal owner of the property, even if you're still making payments, you're considered the legal owner and you can sell the property no problem. So that's who handles the sale? Anyone you want. So you can choose myself if you think I'm a good fit. If you want to choose any other real estate company on the island, then you can do that too. I worked really good with the Remax guys. I was in that office for a while. They do an excellent job. Israel, one of my good friends and business partner, Israel also does very good at moving these types of properties. But really, it's completely up to you as a property owner. In Belize, the seller pays real estate commissions, and it's typically 10% of the selling price. If you sell a property for 50 grand, 5,000 of that is commission, plus you pay a little bit of GST on the 5,000. It's the goods and services tax. And again, that's always paid for by the seller. What are the next steps if you wish to proceed? That's easy. That's the easiest question I can answer today. Email me your full name and address. What I would do is I'll write up the 4 or 5 page document. Usually I email it to you first. You can read it through, take your time. If you have any questions, let me know. When you're ready to sign, I upload that to DocuSign, which is an online platform where you and the sellers can initial sign online. If it's accepted, then usually you have 3 business days to wire in your earnest money deposit. Once that's done, then Alberto and his team start doing all their due diligence, getting the title checks ran, making sure the property is free of any liens or encumbrances. And it takes about 45 to 60 days from the start of the process till the day it's closed. And then usually if you're financing a property, 30 days after it closes, then you start making your monthly payments. And you make your monthly payments typically directly to the seller. All right, guys, I told you this was going to be a full-on video. 2 deals, a boatload of questions. But again, Manuel and Mark, I hope this was helpful for you. I was going to continue a little bit further and show you some Google Earth overlay maps, but I think this is going to do it for this one, guys. This is a long time to keep you on here. But if you're looking for any more information about properties like this, about how to get started on Ambergris Caye, just let me know. Steph and I are here to help. And also remember, we are going to be having a blowout 2 to 3 weeks with you guys here in March. If you, for some reason, can't get down there during those dates, don't worry. We're going to be back several times here in 2023, along with some other good things we have planned. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, get back to me. I'll do my best to answer them. Until then, take care. Be great. Hope to see you in Belize.